Yeah. And let's turn live on Facebook. Here we go. Hola.
Hi, Facebook.
Okay. What the heck happened?
What's that?
Things are popping up on Facebook, so I had to like kind of hide it so that I'm not distracted by things are attracting my attention on Facebook. So we will hide the notifications. I can't see. It says we're live. I'm going to trust we are so that I don't get distracted.
Okay.
All right, let's do this. Loren Harris. Yes, I met him. Oh gosh, it's not been that long ago.
Oh, a couple years. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm gonna watch along on my phone.
That would distract me horribly.
Yeah, I think this is really cool that you're doing it the way you're doing it, and I want to watch it.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, Deborah.
I met him a couple weeks, or actually about a couple months ago in Las Vegas. We were at an event together. We were both speaking at an event. And I have to admit, when he got up on stage and started singing, my first gut reaction was, who is this guy? Yeah. But he has a beautiful voice, and if everybody's very nice and asks him sweetly, maybe he'll bless us with a number later before we hang up.
Oh, God. Oh my God. I hope nobody's had dinner yet. We won't be down for long.
So I know all about you now, but I'm quite sure not everybody else does. So let's start by, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Well, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, you do know that you're talking about the Las Vegas event, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, you know, I was a partner in that.
Oh, no, I did not know that.
You didn't even know that? Yes, it was Anthony, Frank, and myself.
Ah, that's not quite the word that I got from some people.
That's why I had so many, oh, I just saw something. I should turn my notifications off. Yeah, that's why I had so many coachees on that stage.
Ah.
Tucker, Michael Kyra, Michelle Mallow came through me. Yeah, oh yeah. Barry Schimmel, Lee, the Asian girl. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's, like I said, that's not quite the word that I got, but that's okay.
Well, you know, I'm just going to keep it real, because, I mean, everybody that was involved knows, but I'm going to tell you something. There's a difference between marketers and I don't care, because it's not going to make any difference, but a better difference. There are marketers and there are people who speak and market. But the mindset of how, and it's not to say that one is more right or wrong than the other, but when doing these sorts of things, the mission and the message needs to be evenly yoked. It needs to be, for me, it's all about value. You know, I'm telling you something, it's been a year and 19 months for me since I've been in this business. And I've never been more successful in anything in my entire 55 years than the last 18 months. So in order to keep that momentum and stuff going, I just put it out there. You know, because there are people who are doing exactly what we're doing, like you were there, and it's about value. It's about value, providing value, but also providing experience for people. And I may be new to this game, but I'm not new to what feels right within me. And so, you know, in this business, I'm just keeping it real, because there's a lot of people out there when they're looking for different components. Myself, 20 months ago, if I had gone by every single different thing that I saw in a video or someone's landing page or their how to do this book in 30 days or how to become this kind of speaker or whatever, you know, I probably would still be sitting right here, waiting until I had all these different things in place, waiting until I believed that I could compete, because that was the mindset I had from the business world, and it was tying into so many. It wasn't tying into all of any message, really. It was a piece here, a piece there, but the piece that made it work was just the doing, which I didn't find in a book. I didn't find it at a workshop. And so why do I say all that? I say all that to say this. There are so many people. There are so many people out there who have, all of us actually, whether we realize it or not, we have a story. We have a message. You know, everyone who's lived, if you're 45, if you're 25, if you're 13, you have a story at each one of those levels of your evolving on this journey. And I just want to see more people come to the knowing, that place where they're living within their purpose. It doesn't mean you have to run out and hit the stages or be a coach or a mentor or whatever. When you live within your purpose, you cannot help but be on purpose. And that means you share your message. You have to stand for something. Everything you do must mean something. Because if it doesn't mean something, it's not purposeful. I meant to do that. I meant to come out of this knowing more, being better, seeing clearer. You know, because the difference in a legend and you or I, Melanie, is two things. Number one, what we each do with the 24 hours we're all afforded. And then secondly, you know, what we do with the hours that we're afforded, and finding that courage to look over the shoulder we've already lived, and being able to be okay with all of it. Because, you know, a lot of people feel like they have to, when they think that you have to, if they knew this, they would never that. Oh, if my neighbors knew this, I wouldn't get invited to dinner as much, if at all. All these things because we are underneath the proverbial magnifying glass of judgment on a daily basis. But you know what? Judgment doesn't even make a difference. If you don't have a competitive mindset, you have a cooperative mindset. You know, I don't compete with people. I really don't. And so that's why I don't have any problem talking about Las Vegas. I don't, because I learned, and I'm able now to share with the people that work with me and that ask me to work with them. I'm more selective. I protect this opportunity, because you know what, when you think about it, do you know how serious an undertaking it is to tell whatever it is that you believe greater than you, that you're going to, here, give me this opportunity to get inside the minds of people. Give me this opportunity to help shape and change people within this world. That is a huge responsibility, because you know what? Hitler had power over people. Stalin had power over mindsets. Bin Laden, David Koresh, Jim Jones, every person on Wall Street that ever duped millions and millions of people, they were able to present a face that did not match their mission. And that just shows you it's a huge undertaking. And, you know, everyone has a story. The most powerful stories are hidden in people's living rooms and in their bedrooms. It's like a person who has a great voice, but never shares it with the world. They only sing in the shower. That's how I feel it is about stories, about messages with people. And all I'm trying to do, you know, and I'm not dilly-dallying with it, and I just keep it real. You know why? Because I'm 55. I'm almost 56. It's a fact. Most likely I have more life behind me than I have in front of me. And so I feel that universal urgency to create a legacy of truth and a legacy of, I may not do anything that changes one person in this world, but what if I help plant a seed for that person who does?
I think you're already making a difference. I've been talking to Tucker and I've seen what you've done for him. So,
Oh, that's my guy.
and
That's it.
I was watching you in Las Vegas when you were running around with your coaches and everything you were doing for them. And I was thinking, boy, if I'd had someone like that when I first started that took that much of an interest in me, it might not have taken me so long. So what got you interested in coaching people like that?
Well, you know, I came into this business from a multi-level business in the health and wellness industry. And this actually that started, I believe that was the part of my story that really when I thought I was just transforming my body, I was doing what needed to be done first to prove to myself the power that I had within. And when I did that, it was almost like a dare to do this. I was an event planner. I worked for Herbalife International. I would do their big quarterly things where people came from 3 states, and you know they're all geeked up, and so they had a competition, and I kept seeing people, you know, lose all this weight and look great, and they felt better, and their testimonials were just through the roof. And I said to them, okay, yeah, I'm under contract with you as an event planner, but can I get in that competition? And there was thousands of people in it. And I got in it, and it was a 9-week thing. And I lost 60 some pounds and put on muscle, and something I'd never been in a gym in my entire life. But to answer your question, I became their grand champion. And suddenly my business exploded, my Herbalife business, which I was doing on the side. Um, and the one thing about when you do something on purpose, and you can celebrate in it that you didn't cheat, you didn't lie to yourself. You know, when you're in the gym, when I was in the gym and it needed to be number 10. If I only got halfway, I could have easily set it back down and said 10. But for some reason, this time through, every single thing, I pushed it all the way to what I said I was going to do, probably for the first time in my life. And I kept looking for things every day. I was like, okay, there's 3,000 people in this competition. I got 9 weeks. What can I do today that no one else is most likely doing? What can I do to help push myself through the herd to the front of the herd? And so it was simple things like, you know, if I was disorganized and I had a habit then of leaving my phone at home. So I said, okay, how can I make this work in more than one arena? I can become more organized, but I can also lose some weight and get some cardio in. If I leave my phone, I'm not just going to turn around and come home and go in and get it. I'm going to park. I went into my car and I mapped out how far a mile was in both directions. And if I left my phone, I went to that mile marker and I left the car running and I locked it. And I would have to jog back to my house, get my phone and jog back to the car. I only forgot my phone one time. After that, I could leave my clothing and walk out naked probably before I'd leave that phone, because that nearly killed me, that mile run, because it was 2 miles, one there and one back. I didn't factor that in when I made this great plan, but it worked. And so every day I looked for things, because here's what was different for the first time in my life, Melanie Ann. I didn't communicate with my higher power about where I wanted to be at the end of the 9 weeks based on want. I addressed it based on need. So I didn't say I want to lose 60 pounds so I can win this competition. I said I need to lose 60 pounds so that I can get to the place where I can put on some muscle so I can do what I need to do to win this competition. Because when you think about it, when we were babies, before we were jaded and all these different things started influencing and shaping how we make decisions, when we communicated based on needs. I cried when I needed to be fed. I cried when I needed to be changed, needed to be comforted, needed to be held. Somewhere along the line, I believe we begin to change and shift, where all of a sudden it's, I want a better job. I want a newer car. And for all the years that I communicated from a place of want, it never happened. Not in any permanence. It was when I started saying, okay, I need to reduce my credit card debt in order to afford the car I want. I need to find another income stream in order to buy that home that I want. And the minute I started, because want really speaks to the goal, which we don't have any control over. If you want to have 300 paid speaking gigs next year this time, you don't have control over any one of the 300 people hiring you. But what you do have control over is the process of making yourself hireable. That's what you have. When people are looking for Mr. Right or Miss Right, you don't have control over finding them. But you do have control over working to become Miss Right or Mr. Right. So that when that person does make their way to you, because the law of attraction will do this for you, if you're ready, when you're ready. And then all of a sudden you find yourself standing in front of your everything. That can be in a relationship, it can be in a job, it can be in anything that is within your purpose. But to get there, you must have a process, you must live in the moment, and you must be on purpose. You really have to be on purpose. And to do something in an extraordinary way in this world that stands head and shoulders above the rest, it's really not that difficult. You just have to be consistent. I believe when we ask what we believe to be greater than us for things, asking is half the equation. I think the defining remaining half of the equation is now, after I've asked you and shown you what I want, now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it when you give it to me. Because it's not if you give it to me, it's when you give it to me. Because faith has a lot to do. You have to believe in something greater than yourself. I know I do. I know I do. You know.
Well, you are doing something pretty extraordinary, and that's actually why I wanted to have you on here tonight, because you sent me the information. We talked about it before. We talked about it a little bit on our bathroom moment, and
yeah,
I checked it out, and I was totally impressed, and I wanted to share it with everybody I could. So, the power of we.
Oh.
What is that?
Oh my goodness. The power of we is something that's changing and growing and already empowering everyone it touches daily. The power of we began, this is really interesting, it's come full circle already. The power of we, when I took off from McCarran Airport in Las Vegas, leaving my event, the one you were at, I felt a sense of remorse in my spirit. Not for my people that I had brought, because I covered and I protected that opportunity for them. And it was at a huge cost, I thought, but it wasn't at all. By the time we landed in Chicago later that night, the power of we was already moving through me. I didn't think it up. I didn't choose it. It didn't choose me. We were chosen for each other. The power of we started, I didn't even have the idea about bringing in the 200 plus inner city youth who are at risk to have a once in a lifetime red carpet experience. A lot of these kids, they go to schools where they're lucky if in a 2 or 3 year period, one speaker, and I'm using the term lightly, loosely, one speaker makes its way or her way across their stage. And I figured, because their budgets don't allow for it, they feel that they don't have enough student leaders or people that are interested in it that would. So they're just kind of like, eh. I mean, not saying that the teachers and the administrators don't care. That's not it. A lot of it is just, they're really trying to save the speaker, in my opinion, sometimes, because some of those are tough audiences. I've been in front of these kids. They really, they're a hard sell. And I know why. It's two things: lack of role models that support what we bring to the table as influencers, but also because of the street recruiters. The street recruiters are the drug lords, the sex traffickers, the gang recruiters, and anyone who's out there grabbing children moment by moment, convincing them that it can be easier if you just do what I suggest. And they don't take, these street recruiters, they don't take holidays off. They don't take weekends off. They don't take an hour lunch break. They don't sleep. They are out there every moment of every day. And I look at that, and I look at things like when we have, say, for instance, a school shooting. And everybody points to, oh, the mental health issue. Well, you know what? We all deal with mental health issues, all of us. Something, if it's low self-esteem, in a food addiction, what have you. All of us deal with a mental health issue in one form or another. I just think that term, well, it's real. I'm married to a therapist, so I know it's real. And but the thing about it is we can't use that as an excuse to not harness the power that we each have. Messages are like DNA. They're like fingerprints. There are no two in the universe the same. And just like your DNA can track the world to your doorstep, just like your fingerprint can bring the world, they can follow it to your doorstep. Well, so is the case with your message. It can bring the world straight into your arms. And it just, for me, is a real sad, it's like a wet, it feels to me like a wet wool blanket, so heavy and uncomfortable. And so many people carry it that's what I think it felt like for me when I didn't understand my message. Because as long as I didn't understand my message, excuse me, there was no way I could understand each letter that comprised every word, that made every sentence, that then read as my message, my story. And just based on what I've seen happen in my life, by sharing my message and my truths, the first thing you want to do is run out, and you wish you could just touch someone, just lay your hand on them and transfer what you feel into their spirit, because that would be enough. They'd say, I want it. I want that too. Where's mine? How do I find it? And so that's why I do what I do. And the power of we is because I feel that there needs to be more opportunities for just people like you and me. Nothing against the Anthony Robbins, the Grant Cardones, and all of the big names where people go to their events in droves by the thousands. But I don't believe we have to be that notable. Maybe when you're doing it and it's your name that's out there, because when you go to those things, it's that name, that one singular name. Well, the power of we one day will bring that same amount of people to its doors, but it won't be for a person's name. It will be for a belief. It will be for a movement. It will be for a group of like-minded people who alone didn't think we were able to do much, and we're not. We can do some, but we cannot do it all. It is only when we come together and we combine all of our superpowers that we become a team of warriors that begin to make change where change is overlooked. We begin to point a light and share our experiences on a pathway so that those who are still fighting for a way out of darkness have a place to look, a place to go, and a path to follow. And, I don't know all of it. Of course I don't. But I knew one thing. I knew what I wanted to see happen before I transitioned from this world. Something I wanted to see beginning to germinate. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. It may happen long after. That happens with a lot of people throughout history. Martin Luther King didn't get to see the fruits of his labors. John F. Kennedy didn't. Lots of people. But I believe you do end up seeing it. You just don't see it through these eyes. And I just know that I could never do it with what Loren had to bring to the table. Never, And I also was tired of being alone. I wanted to be with people who had experienced things worse than me so that I could get outside of me. I want it to prove to people who don't have a plan. They're basically, I call it the Helen Keller syndrome, just blindly moving through life. I believe that as long as we allow that to happen and we don't turn an eye of concern to it, and we lose kids and young people and older people, anyone who dies without leaving their gifts here. All those gifts die with us. All of our resources. We probably could have had a cure for cancer years and years ago. But it may have died, that answer may have died with somebody that society overlooked and died over and over and over. There has to be a reason why we don't have certain answers. And I believe a lot of those things will change in this world when we stop assuming where the golden nuggets live, who they choose to pass through. And that starts with us, because when we work together and we experience, not read about it, not hear about it, not stargaze it, when we experience the power of we no longer care about watching stars. We now live among the stars. That mindset of climbing the corporate ladder, above and below each other, in my opinion, it's one of the most devastating dream killers that's ever been perpetrated on mankind. I really believe that. Because you can't do any of the things that we're taught to do. I'm going to turn my light up. You can't do any of the things that, oh, is that too bright? There. You can't do any of the things that we're taught to do. You can't put your best foot forward because there's a ladder in front of you. If you turn around and you still put your best foot forward, you jump off the ladder, and you're always, looking in the rear end of who's above you. You're always feeling the breath from the person who's trying to get up, that's down there trying to come and get what you have and be where you are. There's always going to be someone smarter, faster, richer, brighter, skinnier, whatever. So I believe through the power of we mindset, the concept of it, we realize that we're really not in competition with each other. We're not in competition with any person. We're in competition with time. Because time is the only competitor that has never lost a race with a human. Never. So how can I make the most of my time here? I can make the most by sharing everything that I've ever lived with others, because if I lived through it, I am now an authority on it. I don't care if you're a person who's had 12 failed marriages. If you find yourself in a place of emptiness and darkness, remember you're an authority. You have something to help someone else. You can help that person from getting to failed marriage number 10 or 11. Because you can say things like, well, if your partner shows up at 4 o'clock in the morning and doesn't want to give you an explanation, you could be in a bad relationship. And they can tell you all the things that they were either responsible for or victim of. But at the end of the day, for a person who is in darkness and has never experienced it, it's the greatest gift of all, because they may hear that one word that clicks and makes sense, and it can change or save a life. And so, again, back to the power of it's not just about the kids. It's primarily about the kids, but it's also for those of us who are coming together. This is a first. And I really believe that whenever we have the opportunity for something to be a first, there's something very special, something very spiritual within all of its walls. That's why it's only the first once, just like the truth. Why is it so special? Because it's the only thing in the universe that never changes. Everything else changes. It gets older, it gets bigger, it's smaller, it can change. The truth does not change. The moment it changes, it's not the truth. It's a version of the truth. So the truth, anything that's a first time in your life, even challenges, anything that's a first has a magical orb somewhere within it. And so that was one of the things about this Power of We Symposium that I loved from the gate. I knew it had never been. And that's a beautiful thing about not sitting down trying to think things up. Because that's always the pressure of something having to come from me. And as influencers, you know, content is king. We have to have viable and interesting and valuable content. And I don't get up and try to sit and write it out and this and the other. I look over my shoulder. Yesterday, from the moment my feet hit the floor in the morning until my eyes shut that night, I lived my story. I may have overheard something in the parking lot at the grocery store that was meant to make me think. I may have seen something happening that required me to get involved that was meant to make me do. There were things placed along my path to give me a moment to challenge my decision-making processes and prove to me I knew and still know how to make a good decision. So everything in there is what I share. And in order to do that, you have to be comfortable enough to admit when you didn't get it just right. And that's where the we comes in, because that's when, whether it's your followers or someone reading an article or your book or in your audience or behind you in the grocery store line, you never know what you're doing to put an ember in an otherwise fireless world. And now because you put a little ember, that person, all they have left is breath. Blindly walking through life, but they still breathe. And as long as there's breath, it means you can blow on any ember. So we have an obligation through the power of we to help assist in the blowing of embers and the sparking of embers. It's okay to have an empty hand, a dark world with nothing in it. Because that's what leads us to each other, so that we can help each other and we can get each other reignited. And so the power of we, it is just what it says. It's an opportunity. You know, I love this thing. I've done it from the beginning. Anyone that coaches with me, they get to be a part of everything that I experience. Every show that I'm ever on, every article that I get asked to write, every connection that I make, every stage that I stand on, every event that I stage, create. And if they're not on the stage speaking, they're working within the movement of creating it. Because not so they can watch Loren soar, so that they can understand what to do as they continue their own journey of soaring. Because we're beside each other, to the left and to the right, never above or below. And I really believe in this concept because it is what has always helped mankind grow. Is when people come together, you know, and with these devices, and they don't even teach cursive in the schools anymore. And so everything's encouraged to quit communicating. If you don't do cursive, who wants to? I never printed a letter by hand. It would have, my hand would have cramped. You wrote letters because you wrote in cursive. When you wrote a card, you wrote in cursive. And now they don't even teach it. One day I fear that there won't be libraries. Yeah, ebooks are great, but it'll never replace falling asleep with a great book spread out on your chest, waking up and putting the bookmark in and putting it on the nightstand until the next time. Or when you finish a great book and you instantly begin to miss the characters in the setting before you've even closed the book. It's all of these kinds of things. And I don't know. I think they're going to need these things. I think our future generations are going to need it, you know? And so we're all standing and prospering and able to do more today. We have freedom to do things today that people have never been able to do because of these devices and things. So yeah, they're great. They're a blessing. But you can't just always take the blessings and forget about stopping every now and then and becoming a blessing. And so that's what the power of we is about. It's about a first time connection for those who have not been around it. A lot of these kids, no examples. It's a reconnection for those who remember what those days felt like. And it's just an opportunity to live within one of the universal promises, and that promise is where two or more are gathered. That tells us that there is a power unlike any other. And it's a great thing. And I'm so grateful for you for bringing it up, because, you know, I have to kind of watch myself, because I'll throw a shameless plug out there in a minute. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Everything I do, I'm serious. I'm almost to the point where I'm going to print little Power of We pieces of paper and just like drop them on people's trays and in restaurants and stuff and at their tables, because it's like I always think, I look at people and I go, what if they would have come? What if they would have sponsored? What if they would have wanted to be a vendor? And so it makes me, every time and I love that, because when I don't want to get up and do something, I always think, well, if I don't go to this, what if that's where that one person that this whole thing is about? I can't assume it's for one of those kids only, because if I look just to see, that's guessing, second guessing. I try to stick with my first mind, which means just do the best you can with everything you have that day, just like in that bodybuilding competition. And I'll never forget, at the end of those 9 weeks, back to that thing, when I got out of bed that morning, because I hadn't lied to myself, I hadn't cheated, I had done the best with everything I had. I started with the free things, the things that were just laying around, you know, because I look at it like this: whatever we believe to be greater than us, and this makes pretty good sense to me, if we're going to ask and dream big, then we have to prove that we can do our best with the smallest. Because blessings, just like pain, anything emotionally based, none of those things fit into pints, quarts, or gallons. None is less or more important than the other. So when you think of it like that, wherever you're at in your life, you may not have everything you want, but you have a lot of what you need. So you look down and what am I going to do with all these pennies? Well, start rolling them. If the universe sees that you're taking care and you're counting and you're stacking, you're rolling them and you're putting them someplace where you can watch them grow, so that you can plan what you're going to do with the pennies. This is what, now I have this much. Now I'm going to do this. If they're all just all over, you don't know how much you have. You don't know the value of what you have. But when you honor it and you take good care of it, before you know it, you come to that same table one morning and there aren't any pennies inside. They've now been replaced with nickels, because your value has been increased. And then you do the same thing. You take care of those nickels, and then you see dimes, then quarters. Because what we do in small things allows the universe to peek inside of what we will do when it hands us great things. And so all of this ties back to the power of we, because alone it's hard to get enough to say, oh, here's some value, because we beat ourselves up. There's never a line. I don't know how old you are, but I know for me, in 55 years, I have never opened my front door and there was a line of people down my driveway standing in line to tell me great things about myself. Never. But when you work with like-minded people, you're like, wow, that's awesome, so-and-so, or they're saying that to you. So your value is acknowledged, and you're being the blessing by acknowledging someone else's value. And so that's that's basically it, you know. I think the kids are going to receive something unlike anything ever before. I believe every speaker that comes and participates will experience something like never before, and everyone in between, from the sponsors to the vendors to the people that watch it on the news, and this, at least one in each one of those sectors will be touched. And to me, that's a win. That's a win.
When I first read about it, it sounded like it was just another event, but now it sounds like you're actually starting to create a movement.
It is.
Both?
It is both. It is both. Because, you know, a lot of people will say, you'll hear a lot of speakers say, oh, it's not about $1, it's about making a difference. It's about both. It's about both, because the more successful you are, the more you can do, the stronger voice you will have. That if that weren't the case, thank God for the philanthropists that we have in this world that have built the majority of our libraries, that endow the arts, that keep things alive when budget cuts at state and federal levels say no more. The well is dry. Think about music programs in schools. Kids don't get to go in and use those red and green sticks we used to click together in kindergarten and first grade and thought we were really playing music. You see, we did, but that was a memory for you. Just now you went there. For kids nowadays that don't have music programs because of budget cuts and lack of funding, what takes the place of that memory? A rap artist with explicit lyrics? Some street vendor singing the joys of whatever freedom it's selling? I remember when we had those recorders. Remember those plastic recorders? Everybody got one. You took it home and you were playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And then you had an entire concert of recorders. The whole 3rd or 4th or 5th grade class, they don't have that anymore. And, I always find myself asking kids that are in elementary school, well, do you guys still have those things with paper where you go like this? And they open and you peel them open. They have numbers and stuff on them. And only girls know how to fold them. You know what I mean? They know how to make it right. And all those things, I ask them, do they do the thing with the yarn, Jacob's ladder, and all of that? We all went through those stages. I get really stoked. I get excited when I hear that some of those things are still there, because it makes me know, aha, there's still hope. There's still some things that bring just an innocent joy to a child. But we can't assume that they're going to stay there unless we get in there, because that's how those things became. That was when people sat down. They were around the family table. They picked up and called each other every day. I bet you someone when you were growing up that phone rang in your house every day. It was either Aunt so-and-so or your grandma, but people connected. They connected. They let each other know that they were thinking about them, that they were concerned about them, and that they were there for them. And so I think it's a great place for people like you and like me and many others. When we come together, we say, oh, look at all of us. These platforms are great because we can reach lots of people. But it's not the same as when I'm sitting in your living room, or you're in my family room, or we're at a Denny's, or wherever we're at. It's just different. So just trying to keep some of that fellowship alive. And at the same time, provide a living, breathing billboard of support for these kids. To let them know, even, excuse me, with our sponsors. We want sponsors, even like, we have a group of 12 kids that are coming from one little neighborhood on the west side of Chicago. and their alderwoman called me because she goes, I've been watching what you're doing, and I know you're talking about bringing kids in from area schools, but kids go all over from where we live for various reasons. But we have a group of kids, like 12 kids, that we want to send there. We want them at that event. Is there a way for just, and that that's what the Power of We was about. That was a very joyous day for me when that call came through, because it let me know that the message had found its way to the grassroots, to people who walked. It was a woman who worked that put me in touch with the alderwoman, was a woman who worked for the city, and her job is to cite houses, give out citations to houses that are their yards not cut or whatever. And so she walks through these neighborhoods and she overhears these kids' conversations. She hears the ones that are trying to talk them into this and talk them into that. She sees where is so-and-so? How come I haven't seen him around here? Oh, he got killed last week. And when you have those kinds of conversations on the phone with people who are living up close and personal with it, watching kids just fall through the cracks and disappear, it really gets you thinking. We're going down there next week to film our sponsorship video, and I'm going ahead of time to scout the areas. And I have to say to myself when I'm going down there, because I thought about this the other night, I was like, chances are, if I spend 3 hours down there just watching kids and just, checking out the scene, by the time we come back 1 week later, chances are at least 3 of those kids that I actually laid eyes on will either be dead or on his way to prison for causing a death or something of that sort. Those are the numbers. Those are the hard facts, the figures. And when you look at it like that, it puts a face on it. It puts a name on it. It's, I used to hate, I'm a product of the foster system. And here I am 40 some years after exiting that same broken system that we still have today, where the needle of change has hardly moved at all. And I still hear those clever turns of phrase like broken system. Okay. It's a broken system. How broken is it? Or how hard is it to fix when I can get in my car and drive 200 miles to a 6th grader named Kylie Culberson because I saw something come over her thread where she collected tote bags and collected over 2,000 tote bags to give foster kids in her neighborhood that she watched come and go with trash bags over their shoulders with all their belongings in it. The same trash bags that they gave me 40 years ago. Now, if a 6th grader can see and do something, how broken is it? See, she is an example of the power of we. She didn't wait until Target said, oh, does anybody out there need a tote bag instead of a trash bag to put all their things in? Next time you go to the Four Seasons on vacation, or you travel and you have to go through TSA, try dumping all your things inside of a trash bag. You can check it just like a regular suitcase. Throw your stuff in a trash bag and put your name tag on it. Be proud of it. Let's see how proud you'd be. That's what those kids deal with each and every day of their lives. And the thing is, that's even worse, if you were to go through TSA or travel with a trash bag, you get to come home where nobody knows your name. Because out there, they're not going to remember you. They don't know, oh, she lives over on Spruce Street in Elmhurst, Illinois. They don't know that. But for a foster kid, getting out of a state car in a neighborhood in the heat of summer where all the kids in the neighborhood are out playing and they see you get out with your hobo bag, how do you think that first day of school is going to go for that kid? I know because I lived it. Oh, hey, there's that homeless kid. You're a hobo. You're garbage. Because they saw me with a garbage bag that I had no control over. So it's just things like that, Melanie Ann. I felt grateful that day I went down there and surprised that student and got a lot of media coverage, and I got the congressman down there to give a proclamation for her, and some more letters came in from around the country. I called on leaders and told them her story, and it made it a very special day for her. But I still, on that drive home from down there that day, when all the fanfare was complete, I remember I drove home in complete silence, no radio, no nothing, because I still felt lacking. I felt ashamed of myself because I don't take myself out of that equation. I lived with those trash bags. Why didn't I think to say, hey, let me collect some tote bags, save a few kids from what I lived? So it got me thinking, and it was a 6th grader. And I believe, if you really look around you in your world, you see example after example after example. A little bit of something will always do more than a whole lot of nothing. And that's all the power of we is trying to say.
Well, if we want to be part of this event, what do we need to do? It sounds like you need sponsors.
Yeah.
Sounds like you need speakers, vendors.
We have all our speakers for this one. We're already looking into the people that will come aboard and share their power stories for the next one, because each speaker will be speaking to that power phrase or word or thought that always was their go-to place. When everything around them told them to throw in the towel, give up, quit, kill yourself, whatever the case may have been, there was always this one thing that was something that brought them through. It didn't let them fall into the hype of, oh, get over it. We'll look for a way to get from underneath it. Well, certainly some way you can get around it. No. That thing that we speak of, that power theme, if you will, is what took them through it. Because when you go through things and really go through, and it didn't kill you, you're here, think to yourself, Melanie, and how many times through the course of your life did you go, oh my God, what am I going to do? There's no way out of it. We all have, but here we are. We really thought at the time, no, this is it. It's over. Oh my God. But we're here. And so the power of we, if you go to Eventbrite and you just type in Power of We Symposium in Chicago, it's September 20th, you'll see our vendor packages, our sponsor packages. You'll be able to see every speaker, and there's a link underneath that takes you right to the landing page where you can see what they're going to speak on. The sponsorship packages are all the way down to, where you can sponsor one child, all the way up to whatever, the corporate sponsorship levels. If your person wants to volunteer time, for the photo booth or helping stuff swag bags for the kids, there's always going to be something. You may know someone who could benefit from being a vendor or would love to sponsor a child or two. We all have something we can do. We all do. We have some celebrities who are lending their endorsements by speaking 30 seconds about the power of whatever it was for them into their phones that we're going to have edited into one large montage that we will show throughout the day. And and how are we getting these celebrities? Because it's like that 7 degrees to Kevin Bacon thing. You'd be surprised when you go through, we're all proud, we got 5,000 people on Facebook. Well, I went down through there and I contacted dang near all of them. And I was like, do you know any athletes, anybody that's written some books, or they've been in the Lincoln Center Honors, or been to the moon, ate dinner with Oprah? I don't care. Anything that they could say to a kid, look, I this, or I'm so-and-so. But you know what? I sat right where you're sitting today once. And what got me through, what got me to where I am, where the me you're looking at right now, was the power of this. So find your power, your superpower, and use it. And so when you go to the Eventbrite, you get to see all that. Now, if you want to just go and buy tickets, you can go to powerofwesymposium.com. That's our landing page. And we've made it easy. If you come for the full day, which is the morning and afternoon where you see all the speakers, and that ends at 6 o'clock. It starts at 9 in the morning, ends at 6. That is, if you just want that, it's $95. If you want the full day, all the speakers can come back that evening for our Masquerade Mixer. And the Masquerade Mixer is really cool because the Chicago Costume Company is going to have a vendor booth there. And you don't have to have a costume, but you have to have that mask that's either on your face or you hold it up. And instead of looking across the room and saying, because the kids will be gone home by then. So it's all the people from the city and that have flown in and all of us, right? All of us regular people. And I don't want people to look across the room and say, oh, there's Melody Ann Whitley. I think I want to go over and meet her. Well, you're going to be behind your mask. You don't get to give them your card. You don't even get to tell them your name until you know about them and they know about you. Then you can lift the mask. So this is about unmasking your potential, unmasking your truths, but you're going to be doing it from behind a mask. So it's kind of a juxtaposition thing there. And some local entertainment, adult beverages for those of you who partake in that. Great hors d'oeuvres being passed around and, dancing. And it's just going to be nice. And we're also going to have some powerful movements, Feed a Billion and the Underground Railroad about sex trafficking. Listening to them for a few minutes and watching a little video about what they do to how these are just normal, everyday people who have a like-minded desire to feed a billion people. That's Jason Cisneros. How they go undercover in other countries and snatch or buy these babies back that are being molested and raped 7, 8, 10 times a day. And many of them it's just crazy. Toddlers, it's just crazy. But these are people who are putting their everything on the line for nothing other than doing the right thing and showing people how important it is that we do and how together we can make great things happen. And so, if you want to just come to the Masquerade Mixer, it's $50. If you want to come to everything, it's $120. And that includes your lunch. And if you just want to come to the speakers, it's $95. So you just go to powerofwe.com, like I said, or you can find me on Facebook. The public figure page or the business page is Loren Michaels Harris, or one of my 2 personal pages, which is just Loren Harris. And I'll be happy to, and we're going to find people like you, Melody Ann, and we're going to have some tickets. It may not be more than 2, but everybody that does what you do, that I've been on their show or they've been on mine, I'm going to find my way to them, and we're going to gift you some tickets so that you can get them into the hands of some of the people that come through and come to you for great information like this. And so, because again, it's the power of we, because you are enabling we to come together here, then we want to empower you to do that for someone else. And that one person might win 2 tickets. And invite somebody that they think may not even ever want to go. And then they go and end up changing the world. We're just trying to give all the places that we think, I ain't gonna come from there. You never say who will, and you never say who won't, because you'll never get it right. So that's what we're doing.
Well, I think it sounds like an amazing thing. Like I said, I was impressed when I was reading about it. And I really hope it goes well. I'd like to see it go like nationwide. Call me when you're in my area.
It's already happening. We've had 2 other states ask us about, when you pull this off, we'd like to talk to you about what it's going to take to bring it here. And this is the template event. We are working diligently around the clock to really protect this opportunity and work with the best people on every plane so that we're able to just take it and move it around. Every speaker's story is going to be transcribed into a chapter. There's going to be, and every attendee is going to take home the Power of We Symposium book called The Chicago Stories. And every city that we end up going to, it'll be the Atlanta stories, where are you?
I'm in Arkansas. I'm in Bentonville, Arkansas, home of Walmart.
The Bentonville stories.
Now we're pretty good here actually, because this is Walmart's home office. This is where they are. So, and Tyson and a couple others. So we're good here pretty much.
So you're saying Walmart World Headquarters is in Bentonville?
Yep,
So you know people that work at Walmart?
I certainly do. And Tyson.
Well. Let me get a Post-it note right now so that I can write Melody Ann Whitley lives in World Headquarters of Walmart land and knows people.
Yeah, we actually have quite a few corporate headquarters here. Walmart's here, Tyson's here, JB Hunt is here. There's a lot.
JB Hunt, the trucking company.
Yep.
I used to work for them years ago. I did. I was a recruiter. So Melody Ann,
Yes.
can we count on you to help the power of we by starting a short list of people that you may run into or that you may, your memory will be jogged now. Hold on, I'm putting a spell on you. There. So that now all these names are going to come pouring out of your mind. Would you write them down for us so that we might get some warm introductions for sponsorship maybe from some of these places?
It's possible. I might have some names tucked away somewhere.
Wait a minute. Did you guys hear what she just said? Possible and might. I would rather hear yes and I do.
Okay. Yes, and I do.
Yay! Now see, and just think, nothing's bleeding. Oh my God. So I'm writing down yes and I do. Okay, and now you're going over to my vision board under sponsors, warm, which means somebody inside of the we knows somebody else even closer to the we. Watch what happens. And we're coming back. We're going to do a follow-up show because you guys heard it here right here tonight where we just came up with this. Now we're going to come back and report on what happens from the pebble, which will create a ripple effect when Melody Ann throws it above her world there in Bentonville. Watch. I'm glad you're recording this because I'm going to have you cut some of it and say, remember when she said this? Well, look what happened. And I hold up a $50,000 check. All thanks to Melanie Ann Whitley. I'm just saying.
Put me on the spot. Go ahead. Put me on the spot. We're good.
Listen, you know why I do that? Because I know what's happening inside this mission, this journey. And everybody who thinks, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to be responsible. And then they're going to think I'm going to be, I can do this and all you got to do, you'll be standing in the grocery store and you'll be, Martha Jean, I haven't seen you in a month of Sundays. What are you doing now? Oh, I work for the president now. I'm not in the typing pool anymore. Then you're going to go, you do? Mind if we get a cup of coffee? Right. And the rest will be, as they say, history and scene.
Well, I'm going to extract the promise from you now.
Okay.
Okay, because yes, up here in Northwest Arkansas, like I said, we've got corporate headquarters out the wazoo, and we're all pretty much okay up here. But there are parts of the state where it's bad, it's poor, and the kids need help. So you bring your power of we to Arkansas. You promise.
We will come to Arkansas.
Okay.
All you have to do is tell us. We would need to know where's the hub and then get in there and start talking to the schools and start talking to the churches and the people that are worried and scared about these kids. And I'm not kidding you. You have my word. If they want us, we'll be there.
Awesome. All right.
See, that's what I'm talking about. We won't know to go if you hadn't said what you just said. You just did your part. You threw a pebble up in the universe. Now it's going to come down and the ripples will begin. Watch.
Awesome. All right.
I'm honored that you asked us to come there. We've officially been invited to Arkansas.
Yes, you have. I don't know how official I am, but you've been invited.
Listen, the other two states that I was telling you about earlier, this is exactly what happened. Someone called me or someone hit me up on Facebook who saw it, who lives in these areas, who knows what's going on there. And they go, we have some issues too. I don't want to see this continue. What can we do to get you here to help further what we need to happen? Just like what you just did. That's what it takes. That's all it takes. Because together we can make these things reality. But if we don't tell anyone, if we don't speak it, how will they know? So, yay, it's already beginning.
Yay.
I'm excited. I'm really excited and grateful for this opportunity here tonight. Thank you so much.
Well, you all heard it. Powerofwe.com. Go get your tickets. Sponsor a kid or two or however many you can afford to sponsor.
Right. Sell that mansion.
Whatever.
Give us the money. No, even one kid. Hey, that's one less kid to worry about. That's one less kid that won't be there that day. So that's how we look at it, you know.
Or, like he said, reach out. Find out what kids in your area need help.
Yes.
Help
and another thing. Yes, and anybody that's got a birthday coming up, the Power of We is on Facebook as a nonprofit. So if you want to donate your birthday money, we've had one person do it already, and they raised enough to bring in one kid. So that person did their part. That's one more kid that's going to be there. So you could even do something as simple as that. So if you want to do that, you know how they give you the options. You just type in Power of We, and you can donate your birthday money.
Awesome. I have a birthday coming up, actually. So.
See? There you go. Oh, I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna ask which one, because then you'll unplug me.
Oh no, I'm pretty open about my age, because I'm pretty open about my age. Okay.
I think you said that on my show.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with my age. I'm 61. We'll be.
Oh, well, no wonder. But see, if you looked 70, you wouldn't be saying that. But you know, you look good, so that's good. Well, congratulations on number 61.
So I may have to be donating my birthday, I guess.
And we will help drive traffic to your page.
Well, awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been fun.
It has.
Now I have to go find some Walmart people.
Please, and some JB Hunt and wherever else, whoever else you have. We never know. We just never know. Okay. And let them know. You know, when this is successful, we can head over to your neck of the woods. Literally.
I'm going to hold you to that one, because like I said, I used to work for the Girl Scouts when I first moved out here, and I saw some kids. And I worked for the Free Health and Dental Center for a while too, and I saw some kids. Yeah.
Breaks your heart, doesn't it?
It does. I never realized just how blessed I am and how blessed my kids are, and
I'm looking at your people. I'm in full agreement, and I just thank you so much for everything you do. And you know, again, you have a standing open invitation to Bathrobe Moments. So thank you so much. I really appreciate all you've done tonight.
Half the people got on expecting to see if you were going to be close, because I kind of put that out there. I said I was going to be, but I couldn't swear about Loren.
Well, and I do have this plunging neckline. I was out jogging, so
well,
I literally ran in here, huh?
I said, thanks for doing this with me. It was fun.
Oh, absolutely. It's been an honor.
Okay, everybody, you hear that now? Powerofwe.com. Don't forget, powerofwe.com. Go sponsor some kids. Go buy some tickets. All the other information you want to know is on Eventbrite. This has been Loren. You can find him on Facebook. He's got several pages, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm Melodian, and we will see you again next time.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Melody Ann.
You're welcome.
Oh, that was fun.
I thought so.
Thank you very much. I'll share it.